when everything falls apart and then, people discover your content and everything that you're sharing about, that next level of, I am the creator, I'm going to create my life. How to go from, it's like, the trapeze, you leave one end to get to the other, but you're in the middle. So I wanted to ask you about like that middle spot of how to, when you're transitioning, but you have that awareness and that awakening, like what are the best tools for that transition, like that middle spot?
Well, I'm very grateful that you did this interview with me because that's probably the most pertinent thing. Once you recognize that you're the creator, because you've used me as a reflection to reconnect you with that knowledge that is actually already yours. Um, that's you, the trials have just begun because once you first of all understanding you're the creator puts you at a perspective, an elevated perspective where now you're equipped to handle any challenge because we can only solve a problem from the level of consciousness that we can't solve it from the same level of consciousness that was created, in the words of Einstein. So if we're trying to solve our issues, and we're certainly trying to navigate the transition that's about to come once we understand we're the creator, if we're trying to do that from victim consciousness, forget about it. Because everything, the moment you hear me say you're the creator, everything that doesn't that isn't in resonance, in vibrational resonance with the creator, is going to come up to be purged. Okay, that's what needs to happen, and that's what the transition point is. It is a collection of everything that has been weighing you down, all of the vibrational anchors, the low frequency anchors that are not in resonance with being the creator, with being an infinite, limitless creator. All of that's going to come up to be purged and released. And so your subconscious mind will do that systematically in a way that is comfortable for your egoic mind to be able to let go of that. So the process is controlled by the higher wisdom that your higher self is in conjunction with your subconscious mind. And so that's what's happening. You're gonna purge everything that's not in harmony with being an infinite creator. So you're gonna get one last look at everything that's been weighing you down, and then be afforded the opportunity to release it.
I love that. Like one last look. That's so powerful because I couldn't put that into words, but that's how I feel. I feel like I'm moving into this incredible, amazing place of so much peace and resonance with a new understanding, but yet there's like that one last look that I'm having at everything. I'm still looking at it. So I love that it's like that one last look. I like the word last, so I know I'm not taking it with me, but it's still there. There's still so many things to transition out of and to navigate, you know.
Yeah, that by the way also is mirroring. So what we're experiencing on a micro level, that final purge, that last look at what everything that's been weighing us down, is mirroring on a macro level everything, the dark night of the soul that humanity's having right now. Getting one last look at everything that's been weighing humanity down as a collective before it's purged. So you could see that the micro mirrors the macro, and what we're experiencing in our personal lives is setting the stage for what we're experiencing collectively.
So interesting, because I was just thinking today, I was watching some content online and I was very aligned with it, and it was talking about people waking up. And I thought to myself, were people always waking up like all these past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but I just wasn't waking up, so it didn't come in front of me? Or is there a collective waking up now? And so what you're saying is that there is that collective, which is it's nice to know like I'm not alone and I didn't miss out, but like you said, everybody's kind of waking up together. So it's just such a beautiful thing that so many people are doing it at the same time. It's not like I'm falling behind or I'm ahead of anybody. It's like there's like that collective. So
The irony is not only you not falling behind Esther, but as a Blu-ray Starseed volunteer from that stream of consciousness and from that 144 Oversoul, you're actually leading that ascension.
so leading, meaning how do I know, so what do I do in terms of leading? Because like I would say probably a year ago, I started teaching some self-development classes just on Saturday in my home for some women in my community. and people really resonated with it and they loved it and they would come back. But then I found after about 8 months of that, people kind of turned away, turned not against me, but I felt like something negative coming from people where, I was teaching and then it was like, we don't like you anymore. Kind of not, they don't like the teaching, but I kind of felt pushed away, pushed out of the social circle more. So I'm wondering when you say leading, it's like a scary thought to me. It's like, okay, so if I'm in a leading position, giving a class or I like to write, so writing, does that mean okay, the haters, so to speak, are going to come? I just wonder about that. Like, how do you lead without having that, or is that part of it?
So the first thing to understand is as the creator, everything everything is your creation, including you being quote unquote pushed out of a social circle. So we want to ask ourselves in any situation that appears to be negative, because there's no such thing as negative. Everything we create serves us. The creator doesn't make any mistakes. Why would I create this and how is this serving me? Okay. There is definitely a benefit to you being pushed out of any social circle. And that's number one. You wanna ask, and once you're at the understanding, and this is the first two of the three pillars of power, is I'm the creator and everything I create serves me. I don't create anything by accident. God doesn't create anything by accident. And by God, I mean you doesn't create anything by accident. So why would I create this and how is this serving me from that level of perspective, from that elevated perspective? We are now in vibrational harmony to understand how it does serve us. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is vanquish any ideas of victimhood or that we're being violated or, something negative is happening to us. From once we vanquish victimhood, we're now in vibrational resonance to understand why we did create that circumstance, um, and that it does benefit us. That's number one. Number two, the second part of your question is how do I lead? You embody the frequency of the creator. That's what you do. And when people see the massive difference in the way you live your life and the way that you handle the challenges, and the fact that you're literally breaking the shattering the entire illusion of victimhood. And when people see that the way you've embodied that in your life, they will only want to. Those that are also planning to ascend will follow your example. Those who are mired in victim consciousness because they are unconsciously sourcing their energy from being a victim, or who've just decided on some level that they don't desire to experience the next higher level of existence, um, they won't follow you, and that has to be okay with you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Um, and I wrote down a couple of questions that I had for you, and I was realizing as I was writing down my question is really everything. It's like everything, every single aspect of life changes on this journey. So I was thinking, there's nothing I need to write down, learning from you about being in the present moment, just facing things as they're coming along and dealing with it kind of from the same perspective. It's kind of all the same. It's not like there's different tools for each situation. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And literally that's all you need to do. From the time that you realize that you're the creator, it just pretty much is the evolution is pretty automatic. It's pretty automatic because literally all you need to do is elevate yourself to a level of consciousness where everything kind of automates itself. And you don't have to force anything. You don't have to learn any techniques. You don't have to integrate any tools or anything like that. Pretty much everything is an automated uh, process because you're at the level of consciousness now where you understand you're the creator. Everything you create serves you. And pillar number three of the three pillars of power is creation is finished, which means we're just vibrating in harmony with the version of Esther that has already overcome all this.
Got it.
Yeah.
The other day I had an appointment that I had set with somebody to help me budget my finances because I work for myself, I'm a writer. And so I was thinking, am I managing my money properly if I can't manage to pay all of the bills that I have? I was reaching like this place of like maybe I'm doing something wrong, maybe I'm misspending. And so I not hired somebody, there was an organization where they have somebody go over your finances with you. And as soon as I started talking to her, I realized numbering, the income and the assets and the expenditures, like it just was all wrong. It felt all completely wrong. And I just wanted your insight on that, in terms of, budgeting money, kind of in the matrix or from a perspective of I am the creator. So I wanted to just ask you about that.
Yeah, so whether you know it or not, you are bringing yourself attention to the fact that it's only a matter of time before you realize that you're the source of all abundance, that every dollar you've ever created or experienced has come from you, and that all the money that you experience or all the abundance in general that you experience is coming from within you, and that you won't need a budget once you realize that budgets really become a measure of the scarcity program of the matrix, that you are infinite abundance. And when you realize that nothing actually exists outside of you, including all of the money that we experience, then we won't be making decisions from our scarcity mindset. Let me put it that way, because the majority of us, whether we know it or not, are literally making all of our decisions from that scarcity program. It's literally that before we even go to take an action, before we even make a decision, before we even choose what thing we're going to buy from the grocery store or from the when we go shopping or when we're on Amazon, before we even go to make a decision, we are operating from the scarcity template, right? And so we're making all decisions from I can only afford this much, and literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every moment of our life, it's the I can't afford it program is running, and then we're making all our decisions from that. And so when we you are literally bringing yourself your awareness to that that program that's running subconsciously so that you can release that thing, and we won't need a budget once that happens, and then we'll understand that however it is that we are choosing to express ourselves, or express our highest passion, that it will support us regardless of what the matrix tells us about it not being able to support us.
Wow. That
Yeah.
was, yeah. I mean, when you said, a budget is the measure of scarcity, like that's such a powerful visual. It's not a measure of you're irresponsible, you should not buy Starbucks or not pay for XYZ. It's like it really is a measure of a budget is really a measure of scarcity. And I thought it was a measure of responsibility, but it apparently not.
It is, yeah, and that's the matrix brainwashing that, we have to be responsible, and that makes sense for somebody who doesn't understand that they're the universe. Yeah, that they're the universe, that they're God pretending to be a human being. For someone who actually believes they're a human person, then budgets and being responsible make all the sense in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And another topic that came to mind, I mean, the topics are really, like I said, everything, but I think a very important one for me and what I hear from a lot of people is, there's the forgiveness and not wanting to take revenge. And I wanted to know, it's like this morning I was thinking of somebody that, so to speak, did me wrong. And it doesn't come up for me that often, but every once in a while, I think, I hope something bad happens to them. So I wonder, when you're feeling that and I know it's not true, but how do you navigate away from that desire for somebody that was hurtful to you to also suffer, so to speak, even though I know like that is me as well and I brought it on to myself. It is still like this letting go that I'm not able to do around that, just maybe with certain people. Just wonder about that. Is that a process or what is
Yeah,
there?
so that's such a great question, and that's an aspect of the purge that happens during the transitionary period. It's really being brought to the forefront of your awareness so that you can understand that once the purge is complete and once you realize yourself as the creator, you will understand that all separation is an illusion, and that any type of situation where you were quote unquote violated was created by you, and it was created by you because your ultimate goal in incarnating was to know yourself as what you really are, which is unconditional love. And unconditional love doesn't actually need to forgive because it doesn't judge or it doesn't scorn in the first place, right?
Got
So
it.
God, we don't need forgiveness from God because God doesn't judge in the first place, right? Regardless of what our religions have told us, which have nothing to do with the truth. Um, God doesn't judge in the first place, so forgiveness is not needed. And so, one of the biggest reasons we would create a situation like that is so that we can know ourselves fully as unconditional love. And make no mistake, that's why we all incarnated, so that we can know ourselves fully by first realizing and experiencing what we are not, so that we can then experience ourselves as what we are, and what we are is unconditional love. And unconditional love doesn't need to forgive because it doesn't judge in the first place.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Very, very powerful. And in terms of like you're saying, like from the religious aspect, I've noticed once I feel like with your content, like a switch flipped. It was like this flip that switched with, whereas with other content, spiritual content and, similar content, it's more of like a process of, okay, do I feel this or do I believe this or let me try this? And with your content, it was like a flip switched, and I went from being terrified to being totally at peace to then being, okay, let me understand this and see how everything is kind of, the dominoes are falling and how to navigate. But there was like this flip that switched. Um, and what I've noticed is the biggest changes came in terms of religion. And in terms of religion, like I've been operating out of, okay, if I say the right prayers and at the right time, in the right order, with the right intention, that's what I must do, like kind of the rules that I must follow. And like that was all gone completely. And I completely stopped. Like I had this like hour and a half process I did every day with my like big package of like prayers and meditations and all of that. And it was like I couldn't connect to it anymore. And I just wonder if is there like a happy medium, or is it like I'm like thinking like what just happened? Whereas because I grew up ultra Orthodox, very religious, and I never had any need for rebellion against religion, but I did have a need for changing things. But now it's also not rebellion, but it's like I'm just not connected to it. It's like a disconnect. So I just wonder about that. I'm not even sure what to think about it, but that's just what happened.
Yeah, so you're beginning to experience multidimensionality, which means you're beginning to understand yourself as the girl who was raised in Judaism and can appreciate that the fact that we brought the Abrahamic religions to humanity to help us forget who we are by externalizing God, okay, externalizing the Creator, which is, as we know now, you, and then the version of you that already understands that it is the Creator, right? And that's so. So the part of you that's human and can appreciate the religion and doesn't really need to let go of it, and the part of you that is God and realizes that we created religion to forget us, to help us forget that we're God, so we can have the experience and enjoy the process, hopefully, of returning to that knowing. So you're embracing multidimensionality, and that's an aspect of the transition is the first part of that, where you're embracing multiple perspectives at the same time.
I love that. That's amazing because it's kind of scary to think, so, where does that all go, which did serve me? And um, I'm not connecting to it, but like being able to not have to leave it and say it's a multi-dimensional, like that's all inclusive. I think that's like an amazing way to look at it. Because that's a reality for me right now. And it's very interesting. I was raised so, I mean, ultra Orthodox. I was married, my first marriage was arranged for by my parents. Like that's the level of orthodoxy that I was raised in. And it's just, I've come a long way since then, but at the same time, it's just shedding layers of different belief systems and different things that work and that don't work and that feel right or don't feel right. So it's definitely been an interesting journey. And here, um, so it's a relief to be able to keep a multi-dimensional view and not say, well, that was bad or wrong, you know. So
Yeah,
it,
understanding yourself as the creator is understanding yourself as everything. So, so as everything, you can hold an infinite number of perspectives as long as we maintain the highest perspective, which is that we're the creator. Everything we create serves us, and that creation is finished.
I'm noticing something interesting, which is I have a 17-year-old son, and I noticed that he's already here. Like the way he speaks about like God and religion as two separate things. And um, I'm just so surprised that he already knows all of this. It didn't come from me. I tried to get him to be more religious, but he wasn't buying into it, but he was having his own viewpoints, which is so much more of the awakened viewpoint. So I wonder, is it that he's just living in a time where there's more awakening going on, as opposed to me being Gen X? There's none of that in my atmosphere, in my environment. So I'm so appreciative to notice this about him. I just sometimes wonder, is this a collective also for that age group?
Yeah, so the volunteers that come from your soul group, we're bringing in these younger wanderers or star seeds and volunteers. They are just simply much more resistant to brainwashing than we are. So they're kind of Teflon when it comes to the trauma-based mind control of the Matrix, and so it just kind of it doesn't stick to them. So they're able to hold the perspective that we kind of have to go through a process to get to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I'm just like, I'm amazed. I'm in awe of it. And I'm like, how does he know all this? But it's not, yeah, he's not going for the brainwashing, zero. It doesn't work on him at all. So
Yeah.
it's so interesting. It's interesting to see. And it's also exciting, to know that the new generation is bringing something new and different. So. Yeah, totally. Now, the next topic is dating that I wanted to ask you about. And I've seen in some of your content, I mean, I just laughed so hard at some of your content around dating. It's fantastic and it's so entertaining and um, different, than what I'm used to. Um, so I just wonder about, in terms of dating, in terms of like, I know that, when you become who you need to be, you attract the right people. But I also know, there's also a level of effort that you need to take if you want anything. And, the inspired action. But, I don't feel inspired to do anything other than just do my own self-development work. But I wonder, is that kind of like a cop out of doing what I supposedly need to do, like go places or, you know, I don't know. Like I have this question mark in terms of that. How much does my effort need to be? And how much is it of like, I don't feel like doing anything, but I really want it. It's like at the top of my list, you know?
Yeah, so we can look at that in a couple of ways. First of all, when we understand that we're the creator and we start purging all of the brainwashing, right, all that stuff that doesn't belong to us comes up. It's seen for what it is. These are matrix programs that don't actually belong to us. So we go through a desert phase where we kind of lose all motivation to do anything. And that's completely fine where we're transitioning from letting go of our old identity because we realize it's completely false and fabricated to embracing our true self as the creator. And then so the closer we get to our true self as the creator, the less we are planning or we're operating from any matrix programs or any preconceived or pre-cooked notions of anything happening. And we're literally operating out of the present moment awareness of being intuitively guided by the connection to our higher self because thinking stops when we rid ourselves of belief systems. Okay, all thoughts that we have that we experience, which are not no thoughts are us, because what we are exists long before there's ever thought. Those thoughts are being generated by belief systems, and as those belief systems are purged, there's no longer any thought process, and thinking is the only block to knowing, the tangible knowing, which is the connection to our higher self or the God within you. And so as belief systems are purged and thinking stops, the voice in your head disappears and it's replaced by the sound of the energy that your higher self speaks to you in. So if you are inspired by the higher self, by the God within you, to go out on a date or meet somebody or go somewhere or go to a social function, that moment, that inspiration will come in the present moment. And you'll feel inspired, and you won't really be able to stop yourself because it's God operating, divinity operating through you, and you can be sure that whatever the connection it is you're going to make is going to spill over to uh, having a ripple effect with all of your soul group and then out eventually into all of humanity. So everything you're inspired to take action on, ripples out beyond you and the person you're dating or you're meeting or you're hanging out with or whatever, and it ripples out to the entire collective, which is what the Blu-ray Soul Group came here to do, and all of the volunteers of the 144 came here to do. Is be basically the tip of the spear of the tip of the spear, and that the soul group that you come from, which is mainly comes out of the Blu-ray of creation, was here to be the tip of the spear energy.
Wow. The interesting thing is, though, when I look at my friends that were single and got married, and let's say myself that I'm single for 6 years, 6 years since my divorce. So I see them, all of them, they like were obsessive about going on dating apps, meeting, it's a numbers game, meeting a lot of people, going to events, going to singles events, doing this and that. And those were the ones that did get married or did get into a relationship that they wanted. And so I wonder that when I look at the end result, I think, I'm doing what feels right to me, but the result is I haven't met anybody and they have. So I'm just curious about, or let's say money, like I know in my family, let's say I'm one of 11 children. So I have some of my siblings, are successful monetarily, some are not. And I notice, the ones that are, they literally were obsessed with it. They wanted to make money. They wanted to be millionaires. They wanted to go for it, and they did, and they made it. And the ones that like me, I'm a writer. It was never really on my mind to make money. Or, one of my brothers that plays the saxophone also, like that was on his mind. So, the ones that went after it in the matrix got it, and the ones that didn't get it. So I'm just curious about that. I'm curious about that. I don't know. I don't know my question, but I'm just noticing that, you know?
Your question is a brilliant one, and what you're pointing at is something everyone's going to want to know when they first understand that they're creator. Because you're the creator and everything you create serves you, you're the one that's actually creating the illusion of other people having something that you don't. And you've created that for a specific reason, so that you could experience what it is to not have something, and then to feel things like jealousy or envy for someone having something that you supposedly don't. But you're actually the powerful being that's creating the illusion of power in the hands of others, or things that you supposedly don't have in the hands of others. And the truth is, everything you've ever desired to experience is here now. And so as you become the creator and you purge everything that doesn't belong to you, those things will start to materialize. And so you would have had the experience of other people supposedly having things that you don't, and have being able to feel the emotions and have the sensations of that, which is completely foreign to your higher self. Your higher self doesn't know anything about jealousy or envy or anything like that, or feeling left out, or fear of missing out, or these types of things that we feel as humans. So you gave yourself that experience by creating the illusion of others having something you don't. And now as you become the creator and realize that everything is available to you, you can now then have the opposite experience of that.
Got it. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the illusion of them having that's what it is. Yeah,
Exactly. So hopefully you gave yourself the a real understanding, or a full experience of what it is like to feel envy or jealousy, or feel like you're missing out on something, so that you could now fully appreciate the experience of realizing that everything is available to you, because you're the creator and you've created everything, including the illusion of other people having something that you don't.
got it. Yes, I have reached that. I'm maxed out.
Yeah. All right.
I'm maxed out.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know how much more time you have. Um, I'm just thinking if there's any other like major question that I wanted to ask, unless there's something that's coming to you that you want to share any final thoughts or ideas.
Yeah, so one thing that's really important during the transition, especially, and just in throughout our experience as the creator, especially when we don't know that we're the creator, is to allow ourselves to have the experience of especially unpleasant feelings and emotions, and unpleasant experiences. Because once we've lived through an unpleasant experience or something we don't prefer once, we don't have to recreate it. Now, what most of us do, because we've been so trauma-based mind controlled into escapism, is that we repress it, deny it, we drug it, we medicate it, we run away from the experience of something that's less than ideal or less than pleasant, not realizing that we're creating that experience because we want to have that experience. So then we can then appreciate the exact opposite experience when we become the creator. When we run away from, suppress, deny, or whatever, or medicate situations that are not preferable, we don't give ourselves the experience of having it, which means we'll have to recycle the experience and recreate it. Okay. So it's really, really important that we give ourselves the absolute, we're 100% present with the experience of what it is that we don't prefer, understanding that it's just setting the stage and the reference point for that which we do prefer. Okay, so we're moving through the thing we don't prefer, then to get to the thing we do prefer. Any void that is in our life right now is a void that the universe, which is you, the higher expression of you, is going to fill. But we first have to give ourselves the complete experience of not having the thing we desire and fully integrating that experience so we can move through that to then have the thing we desire. And until we give ourselves fully the experience of the lack side of the equation, we'll have to recycle. We'll have to keep recycling the experience. And this is when people get into these cycles of misery, where they just keep recycling experience over and over because they keep trying to escape from that experience and not giving themselves the full understanding of that experience, so that we can move into the opposite side of the equation. That's incredibly important that people understand that.
Wow. So that must be why I'll recreate the same exact negative situation over and over until I fully experience it. Is that what it is?
Correct, and at some point we'll stop calling it negative or judging it as negative because it's an experience that we want to have, right?
Okay.
So in that and from that perspective of you as the creator and everything you create serves you, there's no such thing as a negative experience because everything is giving you is you're essentially collecting data for your higher self and oversoul to be able to give you the information for what it is you do desire to create by understanding more fully what it is you don't desire or what you don't prefer. That's what gives us the information to be able to create what it is that we do desire.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome. Mhm.
Very life-changing.
Yeah, yeah, it was for me too. It was for me too to come into this understanding. And so once you've gone through the transition and you fully embody yourself as the creator, what you will understand is you will begin to start requesting and receiving revelations from your higher self and oversoul that will be the information or data or teachings that you actually came here to embody. And so you'll be sharing these levels of teachings and understandings with everyone uh, through your example and embodiment of these things. So it's not an accident that you're one of the first to receive this revelation and this wisdom, because you're going to be the vessel by which a lot of this wisdom, this higher conscious wisdom, is brought into the collective, and you're doing that right now. You're beginning that process right now.
Got it. Thank you. Amazing.
Yeah.
I actually have to move out of my where I live now at the end of November. And I went to see another place and I got that feeling. No, I want to put everything in storage and I just want to like travel, like pack my kids up, get on a plane and do a little bit of traveling, let them be on Zoom school. um, I'm not ready to go back into the matrix and, sign a lease and blah, blah, blah. Like I was feeling like, not yet. I don't want to be sucked back in. And so I'm starting my journey now with all of this knowledge, and I'm just really going to be living it. And just living in the present moment of we're getting on a plane, we're going to be traveling to the Middle East, which is crazy, but that's where I'm called. And we'll see from there. So that's where my journey is taking me now.
That's wonderful. And, as the creator, we really embody the true spontaneity of this experience that we've always desired to have, where we're not operating from plans or anything that we got from the Matrix, brainwashing and being responsible and all this other racket. We can throw this all away and experience the fullness and richness of being spontaneous and operating only from inspired action. And when you do that, you'll never go wrong. You'll never make a mistake. There will be no errors. And what you will come to realize is that there were never any errors made. There were never any mistakes made, that everything you created was created for a reason. And that reason was because it serves you. And now you get to really enjoy, like I said, the fullness and richness of the human experience, having the human experience as the creator, as the multi-dimensional expression of the creator.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm excited for it, which sounds to me, it sounds crazy because it's, the whole journey is, I thought I needed to build more stability, but apparently not. So it is, I guess it is stability in a way, be living in the
It's
present
it's
moment.
it's absolute stability because you're being guided by divinity, right? And so you can't go wrong and one of the best parts of this experience is just having no desire for control, because once you realize and fully understand that everything around you is you, that you're creating everything, that everything you see is this holographic bubble around you is being created fully by your energy, it all consists of you. You don't desire control because you realize that everything around you is you, and that you're no longer operating from fear or scarcity or lack or separation in any way, shape, or form, because you realize the idea of the illusion of the outside world is an illusion, the subject object paradigm, that you're this subject, witnessing these objects, that all dissolves, and you realize that everything is you. And and so fear goes out the window, right? So we've given ourselves a full understanding of what it's like to feel separate and scarcity and lack and fear. We've given ourselves the full expression of fear, the majority of us, and that's what the all the tragedy and famine and war and all that stuff that we've created on the green screen of consciousness has given us the experience of. And now we are ready to experience the exact opposite of that, which is having a existence that where fear is just a function of what used to be. It's a distant memory.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to take this all and I'm going to send you a copy of this, the Zoom, so you can have it. I'm going to also post it and write up a lot of the things that you said in bite-sized pieces, based on different topics. I think it'll be amazing to share.
Yeah, great interview. You did great questions. You're a brilliant soul, Esther, and it's been happy. I've been very happy to work with you, and you really brought the best out of me in this interview. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're welcome, darling.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a good one.